Mark Henry, a legend in professional wrestling, WWE Hall of Famer, and a man that has influenced generations of men and women to get inside the ring, to become professional wrestlers for a living. Mark Henry is someone that many fans believe can do no wrong. He's smart. He's cognizant. He is someone that goes out of his way to help the little guy. He will give you the shirt off of his big ass back if you need it. That doesn't mean he's not capable of saying some dumb, downright stupid remarks. It's not like I should be surprised, but I still am when it comes to Vince McMahon and these horrific allegations with Janelle Grant that basically got him shunned, completely erased from the history of WWE. The term Vince McMahon is banned. You can't even say that word, that name anymore on WWE TV because of what he did. His own family disowned him. His own daughter, son, and son-in-law don't even associate with him anymore. But for some particular reason, professional wrestlers still remain loyal to him. And again, you get it, because a lot of them would not have the lives that they have if Vince McMahon didn't exist. When the world did not take the chance on them, Vince did. He made them millionaires, very wealthy people, got their names in the spotlight, got them the opportunities that they would not have gotten if he didn't exist. If there wasn't a WWE, who knows where a Mark Henry would be? Not where he is now. So you get it. But damn it all, it's almost like Vince can kill a baby and then piss on the grave, and these wrestlers would still defend him. I cannot believe how people like John Cena and even some of the most noteworthy, very smart, very intelligent wrestlers like Mark Henry can still show him support. And it's not like this is something behind closed doors, right? All right, I'm going to show you support behind closed doors, but in the public, I can't really say much. That's not uncommon. These guys are in your face about it. They're screaming at the top of their lungs in public, announcing their love for Vince McMahon. And it makes my stomach turn. It makes my stomach turn how you can look at the situation with him, Vince and Janelle Grant, and not feel bad for Janelle. And there are going to be people, a lot of people who watch this video, just like Mark, will go to the ends of the world for Vince McMahon. As if this man gives a rat's ass about any of you. You think Vince McMahon really cares about you? Let alone Mark Henry? No, he is not a good person, as you can see by his actions. And it's factually proven that Vince McMahon, forced himself on Janelle, made her do some horrible things, which is documented. And then he did some horrible things to her and said some horrible things to her that cannot be defended, that cannot be disputed. If anyone is still defending Vince, that says a lot about you. That tells me that you are not a good person, that you are not anyone that cares about the well-being of others. And I think a lot of the people who look down on Janelle Grant come from a place of, and I want to watch my words here, they come from a place where they work hard for their money. And in doing so, they deal with a lot of abuse. They deal with a lot of shit. And so when they look at what Janelle Grant went through, the defecation on her forehead, the horrific acts that he made her do, as in sleeping with other men to get jobs or to get certain deals done. The text messages. Just me thinking about it is horrible. You already know what happened. If you haven't, please go back and watch my video. I might even tag it. Like, anyone that sees that should be like, nah, man, sorry. But because a lot of these men and women deal with abuse themselves on a regular basis and don't get paid as much, they look at what Janelle went through and see the millions that Vince didn't all pay through, by the way. He didn't pay all the money, but was giving her to shut the hell up. And because she took it, in their minds, they're going, well, it must not have been that bad. No! That doesn't justify what happened because she took the money. What Vince McMahon did was still bad. Period. End of story. I'm not trying to hear it. Again, that is exactly why the WWE wants nothing to do with him. So getting into what Mark Henry talked about, and I am going to use the actual quote because I don't want to misquote him. This was on the Brisco and Bradshaw podcast. Yes. And they were speaking about Vince and what he's done for them and how they wouldn't be here if Vince McMahon didn't do what he did. And there would be no WWE, there would be no business, which is all true. All of that is true. But again, it doesn't excuse his actions. But speaking to Brisco and Bradshaw, Mark Henry stated that Vince McMahon was going through a tough time. Oh, you poor baby. Oh, you poor little billionaire. He's going through a tough time for actions that he did. Here's what Mark Henry said. I never saw none of that. I never heard no negativity like that. Right, because you didn't see it, it didn't happen. Mark Henry, who, again, wrestled for a living, constantly knows everything that happens in every single corner of a conglomeration, a juggernaut like WWE. Because he didn't see it, it just didn't happen. For it to exist, I have to see it. Super inconsiderate. He continues saying, people were like, you're being insensitive. There's other people that suffered. Yeah, but some of those people that y'all are talking about, their suffering got worse when the money ran out. He continues. Where was the suffering when they were getting BMWs and $1 million? Did that pacify the suffering? Because if you're suffering, you should suffer all the time, right? If that is suffering, man, I would suffer all the time. Nothing should get in the way of that. I don't know. I just come from a different time. Mark, abuse was bad back when you were a kid. It was bad before you were born. It was bad when your grandparents were alive. It was bad when their grandparents were alive. It was bad before Christ existed. This isn't a back in my day situation. This is horrible. And again, there are going to be people that hear that and go, well, he kind of has a point. If Janelle Grant was suffering, why did she take the money? And it's stuff like that that really irritates the shit out of me. Because it comes from people who, once again, are dealing with abuse and choose to deal with it. Look at Janelle Grant and go, you could have had it worse. At least you're getting $1 million. That doesn't mean that what she went through is okay. Now, let's just go off of the point that he made. Because, yeah, you're right. She didn't need to take the money. She could have just left and spoke to all of us about this when it actually took place in like 2021. Somewhere around there. Probably 2019. Around that time period. It bothers me to the point that we're now excusing people's behaviors. We're excusing people's actions. All because Janelle Grant decided to take the money. So, if she didn't take the money, then what he did would not be okay. Is that what I'm hearing? So, if what he's doing is not okay before the money was involved, it's still not okay after taking the money. But, okay, she took the money. She was not in the right mindset at a young age, very impressionable. where Vince McMahon took advantage of her, someone who was struggling, who didn't really have a balanced home life, didn't have a lot of people that loved her, to instill in her the right kind of values to not deal with this bullshit, which is what makes Vince McMahon the predator that he is. He went after Janelle Grant simply because of her struggles in life. And he knew he could do all this shit to her because all he would need to do to shut her up is just give her a lot of money, which is what she's been lacking. That's what predators do to someone like a Janelle Grant, which is why I get so angry when I hear someone or read someone like Mark Henry make these statements, because you don't know what it's like to go through that, Mark. You would never be put in a situation, you were never in a situation to understand what she goes through. And that's why I get upset, because what he said was extremely tone deaf, was extremely inconsiderate. It is insensitive because he's refusing to put himself in her situation. Because he just saw the money. He saw the millions of dollars that she was making, probably more than he was making as a wrestler. And he was putting himself through his own kind of abuse, right? Bumping inside the ring, probably getting verbally talked down upon, mentally, emotionally. So he himself had to deal with a certain amount of abuse as a professional wrestler and not make as much money. I guess in his mind, I would rather do all that and get paid more. That's such a toxic mindset. You're not making a point. You're just showing the quality of the character that you are. And here I am thinking Mark Henry was just better than this. Here I am assuming that this guy was cognizant enough, considerate enough to understand people suffer, people struggle in different ways than I do. The amount of abuse that I took doesn't mean that people lesser than me don't suffer abuse, right? It's a horrible take. It's a horrible way to defend Vince McMahon, by the way. And all it did was make people lose respect for Mark Henry. So I do hope that Mark Henry at some point in time comes out and at least issues an apology for the tone deafness of his statement. He is going to defend Vince probably until the day he dies, because Mark Henry would not be where he is if Vince McMahon didn't exist. What he said to Bradshaw and Brisco was completely tone deaf. It was unnecessary. It was a horrible way to stand up for Vince, and it really just made people lose respect for him. And so I hope Mark Henry sees the error of his ways, eventually comes around. It's statements like this that make people not want to come out. It's statements like this that make people continue to deal with the abuse that they deal with. Abuse is never okay. What happened to Janelle Grant should never happen to anybody. I don't care how much money she was making. What Vince did is inexcusable. You cannot defend it. And if you defend him, that shows the quality of your character. I don't care what Vince McMahon's done for wrestling. You can sit here and tell me there would be no WWE if Vince McMahon didn't exist. That doesn't mean he gets to get away with whatever he wants. He can do any kind of unspeakable act, and we should turn a blind eye to it and be like, yeah, okay, who cares? Wrestling's great. Thank you, Vince, for WWE. Defend those who deserve to be defended. Vince ain't someone you should defend. He doesn't need you to defend him. He's a billionaire who will probably more than likely get off and somehow not suffer any sort of litigation because he has a lot of money. That doesn't mean that he gets to get off scot-free for his actions. Sadly enough, I don't think Mark Henry will be the last wrestler who will come out and defend Vince McMahon. And I'll have to come up here and talk about how much of an idiot they are too. It just really bothers me that it came from Mark. Who knows better? That's it. He knows better. He knows damn well what he's talking about. Doesn't make any goddamn sense. That what Vince did was terrible, and that there is no defending it. But that unrelenting loyalty just continues to make these wrestlers look horrible. Again, Mark's not the last one. I expect more to come out defending Vince. And I expect more videos like this in the future. Give me your thoughts down below. What was your reaction to what Mark said? I'm pretty sure some would defend him. I can't. Not this time. Thank you for watching. Like the video, subscribe, click that bell, catch all my content when it comes out. Follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, donate using PayPal, Patreon, Cash App, and Venmo. I'm signing out, and I'll catch you guys next time, right here in Alyx's world. The place that is, was, and forever will be a safe space for wrestling fans like you.